So, this is more of a stupidity story than an entitlement story. But entitled dad is nonetheless entitled. Anyway, my parents were married at the time, not anymore though, and I was about 11 to 12. So, my mom had this friend Cece's husband. Kay owned warehouses and rented them out to people. So I guess my mom had been called to come check it out to see if she wanted anything, as the person who rented the warehouse probably wasn't making payments on it, so their stuff got sold. Anyway, entitled dad comes home with a huge, old-fashioned sign that says Veterinarian on it. Probably from some time back when people used huge, fancy, painted wooden signs. So my entitled dad comes up to me and is talking to both me and my mom. Keep in mind, I was 11 to 12 at the time and in no way qualified to be a practicing veterinarian. Entitled dad says to my mom, "So we're going to put this sign up on the house, and people can come from all around, and Doc can give them medical care." Me? Can I, Dad? Can I? Being a kid who loved taking care of animals, and not realizing what goes into being a veterinarian. My mom, being patient, but doesn't have the qualifications to give medical care. You have to be a vet for that. Entitled dad saying to my mom, "Op's fine." Entitled mom says, "And we don't need people stopping by at all hours of the night thinking this is an emergency animal hospital." Then later on, entitled dad starts talking about putting the sign in my room. Then later telling me we couldn't because mom says no. So, in the end, entitled dad had to put the sign in trash pickup, and somebody took it. As I started a new project at home, I stumbled on some pieces of handmade table and decided to use them instead of buying material. The past of this table has thus been in my mind again. I think I haven't written about it yet. So back when I was studying carpentry, it was my third and final year. I was late on assignments because of my first year teacher. He denied each plan on everything, telling it's too hard or too easy, so time went by and I never got to do any work. As a table was a mandatory piece and I had no use for a table, my roommate said she would order a custom-made table from me. New teacher gave permission right away after seeing the plan. We made a deal for a price and I started working. I made a beautiful table from 3 different wood, staining some of it black and leaving some clear. Painted a custom picture on top under the finishing. Teacher liked my work, asked how much I asked for it, and said it's not enough. I said a deal is a deal. I don't turn from this, but don't pay the lumber from pocket either. My roommate got her table and was happy with it. I got a good grade. Time went by and she never paid the table. I had to pay materials for school and it ruined my financial situation for a while. She moved away and didn't have the money. Moved again and I learned she had the table in turn inside and outside, so from heated and dry to cold and moist. Then she had her father bring the table back in pieces. The glue had given up, which I guessed would happen with fast changes in climate around the table. He asked about a guarantee. I answered that the table should be paid first. He left the table. During all this, my roommate was studying jewelry making, so I made an order for a silver necklace. She never told me any price, just that she'd have to raise it several times. Then she asked if we'd just make a switch, a necklace for a table. I told her to keep the necklace. Materials for the table were around $300 at my currency, but close to amount, and I am not paying that for a first-year student made small silver necklace. I've been looking for similar pieces, and from a professional I would get it for $80. I asked for the money for the table several times, but now after 10 years I think I can renew the table up to my own. All this time it has been a bad memory, laying in pieces on my way. One lost friend, one past mistake. I will stand it, fix it, and finish it, and consider it just my student work as a carpenter. This woman and her spawns made my family's life a living hell for nearly 9 years. Think about your ex and their worst attributes and multiple that by 1,000. This woman was the living embodiment of all of the nightmare exes. She was entitled, possessive, narcissistic, jealous, and an idiot. But there was one thing about her that just screamed desperation. Whenever something happened to an individual, the very same thing or worse had to happen to her too. She was a copycat. For example, My relative needed to get glasses because they were suffering from retinopathy. He literally had a medical examination done to get that diagnosis so his insurance could approve of him obtaining prescription eyewear. Well, guess who had to get glasses too? That's right, entitled X. And here's the kicker, she didn't even need them. There was nothing physically wrong with her eyes. They were literally glasses you can buy at the dollar store. And of course she had to start wearing them at the same time as my relative got his glasses. In case you think I might be exaggerating her actions, my relative would later confirm that she didn't get an eye exam done and they were literally dollar store eyewear. Another example, one time her spawns were staying over at my grandmother's house again. Only this time my grandfather was there with me, so I wasn't left in charge of them like last time. My grandfather ordered some fried chicken for dinner, so we all ended up eating a piece. Unfortunately, the food didn't quite agree with me that day and I ended up hugging the toilet for at least 10 minutes. During that time, they came home and heard my little vomiting episode. My relative was more than concerned and gave me some water. Well, guess whose stomach started to hurt right then and there? That's right. Little Miss Copycat. She even went as far as to say I probably had a stomach bug and had passed it on to her. Idiot. It wasn't a stomach bug, it was just a small case of food poisoning. She spent the rest of the night complaining about her stomach and how she felt ill. I never wanted to punch someone so much than I did in that moment. These are just some of my precious memories concerning her. I'll share more stories at a later date if anyone is interested. This woman and her spawns certainly gave me a lot of material to work with.